Hi everyone, Paige here, Energy Healer and Channel. This is your June energy update. We have two primary topics to discuss for the month of June, so I'm going to tell you about those and I'm going to give you some examples of how I'm seeing those showing up in client sessions so that it's a little bit more concrete. I know that these can be a bit abstract sometimes when we're talking about the energy and shifts and changes in the energy. So I'm hoping to make this a little bit more tangible for you so that you can get a sense of how it might be showing up for you in your life. The first one is something that I talked about recently in a very short video, and that was on the disconnect from reality that some of you might be feeling. Now, there are various different manifestations of this, and everyone is getting it in a slightly different way. So it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be feeling disconnected from reality. That is a bit of an extreme, but there are some people, myself included, who are feeling that these days. So don't be alarmed if that is happening for you. But here's why that's happening. We've had major shifts in consciousness, and those are continuing. They will continue probably for the next few months, if not through the end of the year. And as we're experiencing those shifts in consciousness, we're moving forward very quickly on the level of consciousness, but our energy body, aspects of the energy body that are most closely associated with the physical reality, hasn't caught up yet. So we need to make adjustments on that level in order to feel like we're moving together in an integrated way, and that just going to take some time to catch up. So it may feel like there's a gap in where you are mentally, where you want to be, where you feel like you've moved past things. You may feel like you're ready for these shifts and changes in your life, and you may feel like they're coming and then they don't, and then they're coming and then they don't. That's something that I've heard people say. I've heard people say that they're feeling like there are some days where they feel like they're moving forward and everything's kind of feeling lighter and easy, and then they sort of move back to something that doesn't feel so good, or it's sort of a internal pressure, push and pull. It can also feel like the energy is just pooling. So instead of moving forward in a nice continuous flow that pushes you forward, you might feel like you move forward a little bit and then you move back a little bit. So it can be 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's really a sign of the times, and I'm seeing it really in everyone that I'm talking to in one way or another. So do look for where that might be showing up for you in your life. I do have an example from a client session that I think illustrates this really well. And this is one that I just had literally today. So these have been happening regularly for, I'm going to say, at least a month now, where people are having these really big shifts. And this is going to get a little bit more specific to the energy. So for the energy healers out there, seeing a lot of really big shifts on the outer layers of the aura and sort of the big picture and on these sort of source level energies that are then filtering down to the energy that's more connected to the physical body and the physical reality, the material reality around us. So one of those that I saw today is someone who has already made a shift out of long-term patterns, and these can be patterns that are 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, even 40 years. That they've been in place, and those are changing now to completely different ways of seeing things and perceptions of situations, of relationships, of what people want in their lives, of how they've been showing up or set their lives up. So that these are big patterns that have shifted, and a lot of people are going through this. It's that shifting of the tectonic plates that I've talked about before, shifting of the foundation. So this person in particular has already shifted out of some ways of seeing her relationships, particularly with family members, and that also is a theme that I'm seeing with a lot of people, that this is showing up in how they're relating to family members. These are long-term patterns, things that often were put in place at a young age or continue to be developed and reinforced over years and years of time. So in this particular case, she's seeing these patterns differently, and what we had to do in the session today was to release a field that sat within her field. So it was nested within her auric field, and this field was locking in an old way of interpreting. It was almost like a filter and everything that she experienced was through a filter that kind of colored how her perceptions and her way of relating to others and relating to the world. It was a field that was holding in beliefs. So today we worked on releasing that. My expectation is that now this shift is going to be a lot easier for her, because once that's released, then it's a lot easier to move into a new place. So you may, for example, have made that shift on a mental level or level of consciousness where you're starting to see, you know, maybe I've been looking at this the wrong way. Maybe that wasn't what this person was thinking. Maybe, you know, I should give this relationship another chance, try reconciling something. And it can feel like it's just a mental process, and it hasn't really sunk in if you're still holding it in the energy body in some way. So once it's removed from the energy body, then you're able to fully integrate into that new space, where it might then start to feel like, you know, gosh, how did I not see this before? You know, it doesn't even make sense to me that I used to feel that way. It's that kind of thing. So that's one example. Then the other thing that's coming up, this is the second topic, is expansions of the light body. And this is something that my guides have been talking about. As a matter of fact, last night I held a meditation, a Metatron channeling on the Insight Timer. And just a side note, those are free and open to anyone. You can join those anytime. I hold them once a month. These are frequency transmissions. So there's always a theme that's coming up in the transmission, the frequencies that are coming through, because they're designed to help move us through the moment that we're in and help us expand into the next moment, into what we're creating, into our highest expression, etc. So last night, the emphasis last night was on aligning to the core of humanity, a oneness blending of the energies of expression within humanity, of individual expression, blending with the expression of humanity, and then also a sort of a lifting up and spreading out of the energy that's been elevated through transmissions into the field of humanity. So that's a way of sharing what's been received and moving it out into the field of humanity. So that was the emphasis last night. And as part of that, there was a push to express from the heart, to move into an expansive heart energy, so that we're fully expressing from our heart, which is, of course, where the soul, your soul's expression can come through, your true essence, your truth. There are a lot of different ways to think about that and experience it. And truth was a primary word last night, connecting back to your truth. There was an emphasis on the expansion of the light body. And I had an example of this come up the other day in a session, so it all was so perfectly timed. This was just a few days ago. I was working with someone who had actually left her body, which is not terribly unusual. In fact, a lot of you have probably left your bodies at some point. But she wasn't just taking off and exploring or wandering. She was just hovering right over the physical body. So just kind of hanging there, patiently waiting for the energy body that's connected to the physical reality, connected to the material world, waiting for those aspects of the energy body to adjust in order to accommodate a more expanded light body. And what was happening with her light body was it was expanding in order to more fully express her essence, her soul essence. So again, this is what the guides were talking about last night. This is a process that we are in now. So it's another reason why you might be feeling a little out of sync with maybe with your physical body. You may be feeling some weird aches and pains and sensations, maybe with your emotional body, your emotional state, maybe just with your life in general. Here's something for you to look for as you're reflecting on your own life. Think about if you feel like your life path might be shifting and changing, even if that's just a subtle hint of change, or it could be something that's sort of been happening behind the scenes or under the surface, and you're just starting to really catch a glimpse of it. That's something that could be happening. It could be a sense of purpose is changing. You know, you might not feel so driven to do the same things that you've been doing for a long time. You might feel like it's time for a big change. You might be moving, moving jobs, moving your house. You might feel like you're changing your friends, your relationships. There can be a lot of big changes going on right now. It can also be that you're changing your philosophy on life and how you see the world, and in particular, your values might actually be shifting and changing. You know, what's really important to you in how you set your life up, how you live, all of those good things. So there you have it. That is your update for the month of June. Thank you again for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Share it with someone if you think they might benefit from it as well. And if you are interested in receiving regular updates, you can sign up for my email list. I'll include a link for that in the description below. And I will see you next month. Have a wonderful month.